Today we will try deriving Vieta's formula for quadratic equations. So, for example, this is our quadratic equation: x squared minus 5x plus 6. Now, as we learned in the last class that the highest degree, which is 2, is always equals to number of roots and linear factors. So from this we can tell that the equation has two roots and two linear factors, right? So the roots for this equation are x equals to 2 and x equals to 3. And two linear factors are x minus 2 and x minus 3. Now we need to understand this. If we were to expand these linear factors, we should be able to get our original equation back. So let's try that. X squared minus 2x minus 3x plus 6. X squared minus 5x plus 6 equals to 0 equals to 0. So as we see that we have obtained the original equation back. So now let's move on and apply this concept again and try deriving Vieta's formula. This is how our general quadratic equation looks like. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. Most of the time there is like no coefficient with the highest degree, which is x squared in this example. So yeah, we will divide both equation by a. So a and a cancels out. So there is like no coefficient left with the highest degree. So this is how our quadratic equation looks like. Now let's assume that the two roots are here. Our two roots were minus. Here our two roots were 2 and 3. Now let's assume that the roots are alpha and beta. Let's write them as a linear factor: x minus alpha, x minus beta. Now, if we were to expand these linear factors, we should be able to get our original form, right? So let's try that. X squared minus alpha x minus beta x, and then alpha beta negative. So equals to 0. So now let's take x common here. So x squared minus alpha plus beta is equals to, not equals to, coefficient x plus alpha beta equals to 0. So now let's compare it with this equation. Let's now compare it with this equation. X squared is equals to x squared. So let's take it. Alpha beta minus beta is equals to b over a, right? Let's take this as well. And alpha beta is equals to c over a. Now let's make alpha and beta positive by taking them to other side. So alpha plus beta, this becomes negative, minus b over a. So now this is our first Vieta's formula for quadratic equation. And this is our second one. Okay. So as you guys noticed that the negative sum of alpha and beta is equals to our coefficient of x, whereas our positive sum of alpha and beta is equals to minus b over a, right? And our alpha product of alpha and beta is equals to coefficient where there is no x. There is x, but it has 0 as a power, which is basically equals to 1, right? We just don't write it there. So alpha and beta is equals to coefficient of x equal to the power 0, right? Coefficient of x to the power 0, right? Yeah. So yeah, these are our two betas formula for quadratic equation. Now let's do some examples with these. I forgot to write this form. So yeah, so our quadratic equation is like x squared minus sum of roots plus product of roots. This is our quadratic equation, right? This is basically alpha plus beta or minus b over a. This is our alpha beta or c over a, right? So this is how our quadratic equation looks like. This is the sum of roots. Sum means that they are being added together, and this is our product. Product means that they are being multiplied. Okay, now let's move on towards the examples for quadratic and application of Vieta's formula. So this is our first example. Let's say the quadratic equation is 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 equals to 0. So let's first write the values for a, b, and c. A is equals to 2, b is equals to minus 5, and c is equals to minus 3. So having this in mind, let's find sum of roots. Sum of roots, product of roots. So yeah, now let's find sum of roots and product of roots for this equation. The formula for sum of roots is minus b over a, right? This is sum of roots and the formula for it is like minus b over a. So minus b over a. So what's the value of b? Minus, so minus 5. And the value of a is 2. So sum of roots is equals to 5 over 2. Now we need to find product of roots. So to find product of roots, we have also formula, which is c over a, right? Now let's find product of roots. C over a. C is minus 3 and a is 2. So this is our product of roots, minus 3 over 2. Now let's come to second example, which is, let's say x squared plus bx plus 12. Sum of roots is equals to 7. Find value of 3. So we know that the sum of roots, what are our roots? Alpha and beta. So sum of roots is equals to sum of roots is equals to minus b over a, right? Right? So we are given sum of roots. Sum of root is 7, right? So 7 is equals to minus b over a. The value for a is 1. Value of a is 1. So 7 is equals to minus b. Let's make b the subject. B equals to 7. So value for b is 7. Right? So this is it for today's lecture.